Hello, welcome to Freelancers Coffee Break. My name is Mehmet, and for this month, my co-host Ali is absent. He's on military service. So I'm just hosting my friends who are freelancers and would like to have free conversation on their experience as freelancers. And on this episode, we have Tolga. He is a talented video editor and maybe more. Please just give us an overview of what you do exactly.
Yes, hi Mehmet. I hope Ali is doing well. When he gets back, we'll talk about that. Very happy to be here and ready to answer any questions you may have. Let me explain briefly who I am, if you want, so people know. I am a freelancer. Recently, I have been employed full time, and the client got in contact with me first from Upwork. So what I did in the past was I worked as a graphic designer, art director, and creative director, set up my own agency, and then the pandemic hit us. So that was like another story to tell, maybe. That's when I started getting work on Upwork and got in touch with my previous company that I worked for recently for the last 2 years. So please feel free to ask any questions you would like.
What were you doing before starting freelancing for and how long? I guess you have some agency background for many years.
Yes, I started off by working for Publicis as an art director. Well, actually a graphic designer for about 5 years, and then became the art director there, and then moved on to being a creative director. And from there, I moved on to open my own agency called Inspired, where we did sports marketing. And it was a very nice experience because at the time, normal advertising was going downhill, but we kind of found a new way of doing sports marketing and getting it together with advertising knowledge we had. So it was like creative sports marketing. With that, we found another company that was interested with us, and they bought us off. They were called MSC Saatchi, UK-based company.
Well-known one.
The Morris and Charles Saatchi are the founders of them. So I think most of the advertising world would know. There we started working with Turkcell and Vodafone, one after another actually. So Vodafone was the hit though because we did the Istanbul Marathon with them, and we did it for over 6 years, I believe, until the pandemic again. So the pandemic is like a barrier or a new opportunity in my life, I guess, because after that, everything changed in all the industries, including advertising. First thing to be cut was advertising, as you can imagine. But the Vodafone days was very exciting, very enjoyable. The marathon, we started off with maybe 2,000 people entering the marathon. When we left it, it was like we had to close the entries because we didn't have enough room. The government didn't allow that many people to pass the bridge. So we used to close off the people and they couldn't enter the marathon anymore. So I think it was a very fruitful event time for all of us.
Yeah, in fact I ran over I think 12 or 13 marathons, half marathons, 15-kilometer ones, and finished them. But after a knee problem, I stopped attending the Istanbul Marathon.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah, I didn't run any marathons, but we used to look at how much we walked during the events. It was over the marathons, So we started like 36 hours before, and but it's one of the best memories I have in the sports marketing business because you touch so many people and you see so many people that get together with an amazing energy, positive energy from everybody, and everybody enjoyed what they did. So I think it was a very good a few years for us and for the country as well.
So what made you leave corporate life and then decide on freelancing?
Well, it's very interesting. When I set up my own agency, it was called Leo and the Fish with a friend. What we did there was I was talking about there's freelance work, guys. You should get into it. I told everybody about it, but I had an account open on Upwork, but I think it was called something else then, Odesk or something like that. I had an account there and it was shifted to Upwork, but it was just open. I never used it. I never had a profile until the pandemic. The people I told about were all interested in it and they all started using it. Later, I found out they got work from there, and some of them left the company because of me, probably. So I only started using Upwork during the pandemic because I had absolutely no work to do and zero income. So I was thinking what to do. I filled out the form and put everything in. It's a slow process at the beginning, like most of Upworkers will know. Until you get your first job, it's very hard, but it shouldn't pull you down because once you get that work and you do good work and you get good reviews, it comes forward. Like the job I am in now, working for an Austrian company called Beyond Resilience, is actually a part of the Sunny Group. They found me off Upwork. What happened there was they posted a job and
Mm-hmm.
I applied for it, but the job didn't go through. So I said, okay, another job I didn't win.
It happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens a lot. But a few weeks later, I got another inbox message saying that, okay, that didn't work, but we have another job. Would you be interested? I said, okay, whatever, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? I did that job. It was a very small job. I did it very quickly, and the customer was satisfied. And again, no news for a while. During that time, I did a few other Upwork stuff. And then they contacted me for a website, which I had no knowledge of. I said, okay, I'll look into it. I think it's one of my good sides that I try to learn everything. So I signed up for some
Mm.
Udemy courses and looked how WordPress works and
Well.
what is web design. I did do designs, but I never went into details of it. So I managed to do the design, give it to the client, and then web design was part of my work as well. So then I went into 3D design as well.
Well.
Very small stuff, only 3D to show my work, just put it in 3D so it looks good to the client. But
Mm-hmm.
I got good at that as well, so I started doing packaging design. And then this company said, do you do packaging design? I said, yeah, I do. So then it moved on. Then it turned into a full-time contract. And I've been with them for 2 years now. So I got the chance to visit Austria, Germany, wherever they may need me. And I'm part of a team. Which is newly formed, but the good thing is I get a chance to express myself and do new stuff for the company. So that's why I find it interesting. I'm a person who doesn't like to do the same thing over and over again. I always try to learn new stuff. Like now I'm learning chemistry about protein bar production, which is nothing to do with me, but it's interesting to learn.
So you are more like now full time, but you started with them as a freelancer, but you are working as a full time now. But working with a team all around. So
Exactly.
it's a new kind of working system, I would
Yeah,
guess.
it is. Like everyone is everywhere, like time differences. We have people in the United States, we have people in Austria, some in Middle East, some on planes on the way, they connect via internet on the plane. So it's like a big office worldwide.
Mm,
It's still, it's like Upwork still for me, but it's one company with many people in contact.
mm,
So it's a remote experience for me.
okay. So what kind of systems do you do? Are you using Slack, or because everyone is at a different time zone? Probably you are making video calls from time to time, but even synchronizing with different people at very different time zones should be very difficult. How do you synchronize with so many people?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we tried a few softwares with them. I tried to get them involved because from agency times, I used to do. We had our own software that we
Mhm.
created, but here I tried to use. We didn't try Slack, but mainly what we're doing is we're using an online, like a Word
Mm.
file with all the jobs written on. Plus, we do is integrated with
Oh.
WhatsApp because I found that it's much easier for everyone to do this instead of using some
Mm.
software. So at the moment, we're doing this, but we are integrated to a new ERP
Mm.
system very soon, and that will have a part where we will be able to exchange work.
So, what are the difficult parts of working this kind of remote jobs, and what are the advantages compared to being a freelancer?
Apart from being, when you're a freelancer, the main thing problem I think is you don't know your income at all. Like 1 month you can earn a lot of money, and the
Hmm.
other month none at all. Like when I was freelancing, I did this for about 2 years. It was just freelancing. 1 month, I remember billing nothing at all. And this gives a lot of stress, especially when you have a family to look after. So I think if you're a single person, it's not that
Hmm.
bad, maybe. But with a family involved, you have rent to pay, bills to pay. Full income is always an advantage.
Hmm.
Uh, you have freedom, a lot of freedom in freelancing.
Hmm.
Here now, I think I have a bit of both. A bit of freedom, full income.
Hmm.
I know how much and when I will get the money. And the difference is mainly that. And the work, because I do it for the
Hmm.
same brand, I know the brand, I'm building the brand together with other people. I know the background of the brand. So I can do work much easier, much quicker, and correct work without getting information from anyone else. In freelancing, on Upwork freelancing especially, sometimes you have experienced clients. They know what they want. You even get a brief form, which is very important if you're doing any kind of work, actually. I think everyone should get some kind of brief form, what the client wants, maybe samples or what they want. Because if you don't have that, it just comes and goes like a ping pong ball, and you can't finish the work, you can't get paid, the client's not satisfied. Most of the time, they don't know what they want. So that's the main
Hmm.
problem. Now in this company, I know what the company wants. Because I am part of it. We created it together, what we want. So it's much easier, and we know which way we're going. I think that's the main difference of having
Hmm.
a single freelance or full-time work uh, via normal freelance work.
Do you think this kind of work you do, of being full time but kind of distributed remote work, will be popular and more used in the future, or it's just some few companies like you are working on?
I think it will be because, to be frank, I was one of the first people to try this during the agency. Like we were looking for talent, and I used some online sites to create some ads, and I hired 4 different people from 4 different nationalities: Argentine, Brazil,
Hmm.
France, Germany. And I think, especially in advertising, you get different kinds of views and different designs because all these people have different backgrounds, and the work they produce is something different and it's something fresh for that market. So I believe that it will be more popular. In fact, probably it will be the only way to work in the future. I don't think people are
Hmm.
going to work in offices. Like from agency point of view, I have friends still working in agencies and owners.
Yeah.
What's going on there is young people don't want to come to the office, and they don't want to be working just for that company. They want like 20K extra if you want them to come to the office. So that's probably very interesting, I think, because I
Hmm.
understand why these young people are like this, because I'm a freelancer myself. I mean, not freelancer, a remote worker maybe, but you have the freedom during 3 hours, and you probably do better work than you're in an office. So I think the future will go this way.
Mhm. You're full time, but compared to office kind of full time, are you working like 9 to 6? How do you arrange your day when you're working?
Well, normally that's what I used to do, but with having such a remote team with people all over the world, I what we are trying to do is trying to optimize work hours. So sometimes I won't work till 12 o'clock maybe, but I will need to work late till 12 o'clock at night.
Mm,
So it depends on what is needed when. So I think all of
mhm,
us, the owner of the company, people working there, have the understanding that this is our job, we have to fulfill it, and timing is not so important. It's not real.
mm,
Of course, it's not something corporate workers are used to. Like sometimes my parents see me and I'm not working, and they're like, "Oh, you have such a easy work," but they don't see that I work at night or to the morning or something like that.
yeah, it's very difficult to explain the families and people who,
Yeah,
even people who still have office jobs and being
yeah,
at home and working at this, for them, it doesn't look like, still for some already aware that there is something like remote work,
hmm
but not at the level you are doing for sure.
yeah,
And how do you keep on improving yourself? Can you find time to learn new things like the website design you
yeah, yeah. I
learned,
do.
or you don't have time anymore?
No, I do. I find time for that because it's evolving around you, like everything. So you have to evolve with it. Like Adobe has this new software, you're probably aware of it, Adobe Dimensions for 3D
Yeah,
packaging stuff render. Like
rendering.
I play around with that a lot because I do package design for this client and try to play with the lighting and stuff like that. I think I've gotten pretty good at it at the moment. So I do play around with what I need at the moment. Like I went into 3D because I needed to do 3D design for Vodafone during the marathon for stands. And I
Hmm.
couldn't explain to the 3D artist what I wanted. So I used to do bad mock-ups of what I want in 3D, and then they'd do the same
Hmm.
in a better version. But later, I started finishing it off myself as well. So what happens, I think, is when something is needed or necessary for me, I try to learn it because I find it easier to than to telling other people to do it.
So yours, I think, was not a targeted
Mm,
full-time thing, but is there a place for freelancers who want to consider this kind of work you do, remote full-time?
yeah.
Is there any way that they can look for, or it's just luck?
I mean, for me finding this work from Upwork, I think is pretty much luck because all the work I've done in the past, I've never seen something like this happen before. But nowadays, I see on
Mm,
LinkedIn people posting remote work abroad. So I think LinkedIn is the place to search from what I see
mm,
for work like this. I see like countries like
mm,
Germany and Slovakia even. So they're looking for remote workers, people who can work full time. So I think that might be a good opportunity. And
mm,
if you're even looking for full time, I think that you should try, you know, small projects that are up there because if you're a good
mm.
option for them, they might get you full time.
What's your future goal? Keep on this kind of work environment, or do you have any, maybe I'll do bit of full time, but a bit of freelancing on the side. What's your plan?
I mean, at the moment, my contract doesn't allow me to do
Okay.
freelance work. So what would be good, I think, maybe in 5 years, 10 years time, maybe when I'm retired, I'd like to carry on with Upwork for projects only I like, because
Mm,
even until now, I've always selected projects. I only selected the ones I want to do. There are stuff that I can do easily to earn money, but I don't enjoy that kind
mhm,
of work. When you do something, you should be happy with the work you do. I think being this old and doing
mhm.
this job for so many years, I think that brings you that kind of filter. Um, well, I'd like to add something about young people who are going into freelancing, though. What I've noticed during the pandemic, some people wanted some tutoring on some software and stuff, and I had some option to pass time with them online. And what I saw is young people, although they want to do freelance, they don't have the knowledge yet. So I think it would be beneficial if young people could work for a while in work environments, go to work actually even a few days a week, because
Mhm.
working as a team is something different. You can do this remotely, but you have to know how to do it first.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's missing with most of young people. I'm not saying this for coders that work on their own because that's
Mhm.
something else. But if you're in advertising
Mhm.
or any kind of work that needs a group of people to get a piece of work out there, I think you have to do it physically at first, and then when you learn how to do it, you can do it remotely anyway.
Hmm. Okay. Important piece of work. But I think it's also becoming a bit difficult for finding, full-time office works anymore, especially in the design industry. It's
Yeah,
more difficult. Or you have to accept very low
yeah, exactly.
payments,
I
at
mean,
least in our area.
it's very weird, Mehmet, because I see that agencies are looking for people to work, but they want to hire young people, but young people don't want to go to the office full time. So it's really weird because, there's work out there. There are people who want to work, but they don't want to go to the office. So I think
Hmm.
agencies have to find a workaround this part
Hmm.
time. I think it was really good. It was going towards that way, but now I know that agencies and companies are getting people back to the offices. They want them physically there. It's the mentality that has the problem, I think, because you don't have to be physically there to do good work. You can just sit around for hours
Hmm.
doing nothing, physical environment. But I think people have to understand that.
I think, for example, of course, remote working is nice, but in office work has advantages as well. Just like you
Yeah,
said, you design something, you send to client on Upwork, there comes a bunch of revisions. But when you are in the office,
hmm,
your creative director or art director may come from your behind and say, "Oh, this and that," before while you are working, and
exactly.
so it becomes something regular
Mm,
that you don't have to get frustrated, because then there's someone who's guiding you all the way and giving you ideas, and your
exactly.
eyes start developing. If you try to do it from scratch, it's very frustrating, and you can easily leave.
Yeah,
As you say, you send to the clients and
yeah,
you think that it's a nice work, but even in 3D, we get a lot of, we try to make it realistic, but they ask for it not to be realistic, but out of real perfection.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to use perfect. It has to look perfect
Yeah,
now, but doesn't look real.
exactly.
I mean, when you're in the office environment, especially like the work you do and I do, when you get the client into the office, it's easier to explain than doing it online. The human touch is missing when you're all remote. I understand that some people might think this is not necessary, but humanity and human touch and dialogue is what makes you get better. When someone doesn't like the work, you should take it as an option to make your work better, not as, this client, they don't understand anything, just forget them. I won't work with them again. That mentality won't take you
Mm.
so far. I mean, the best thing is to take that input and try to make things better.
Anything else to add?
No, I mean, it was very nice talking to you, and I think the time passed very quickly. I didn't even understand we talked this much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been more or less half an hour. For our listeners, is there a website they can check about your work?
There is Leo and the Fish still active, not updated, which I
Hmm.
should update. That used to be my company's
Yeah.
webpage, but I am still on Upwork. I had my profile still up there, and I can share it with anyone who'd like to
Hmm.
look at it.
And probably you also have the LinkedIn profile too.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay.
So if you have any questions or any information you'd like to learn from me, please feel free to contact me.
Okay, thanks a lot for the attending, and
Thank you, man.
hope to see you in person soon.
Yeah, hopefully I will be at the next gathering. Thank you very much. Bye bye to everyone.
Thanks.